You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And I am Pete Fox. Hello and welcome once again to the Dodger Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Place to hang out when every game is done. And thanks for listening to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Now the Dodgers put the sweep on the Giants, and we love that. We feel so good about sweeping the Giants, a 6-1 homestand, and more than anything, Shohei Ohtani is first round tripper, an absolute bomb. Woo! We can feel good about that. We can relax and not feel like Shohei Ohtani is a overpaid bust. Maybe that is a strong word to use when it comes to Shohei Ohtani. I heard somebody that I work with describe him as what'd they call him? Show hype Ohtani. Yeah, no, he's fine. I do have to say, though, by the way, I'm Pete Fox, covering sports in LA for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio, dating back to 2007. The Dodger podcast comes on every day in the morning. Jeff and Vince take care of that, and then I come on after the game with the Dodger postcast. The thing about Shohei Ohtani's at bat with the home run tonight was the rhythm and the timing. He absolutely was on it. And I don't know that I've seen that a lot from him lately. I've been kind of commenting that for the most part, not every at bat, but a lot of his at bats have just been uncomfortable, swinging at bad pitches. His timing has been off, wanting to pull everything. Of course, the ball he hit today was pulled, but not down the line. It was more like right center. But the timing was perfect. And it was one of those ones you knew it was gone the second it left the bat. And probably, I mean, you could hear it through the television, but probably if you were there, that crack of the bat was unlike any other. You knew that was an absolute bomb. Started off the game with a K, then a weak nubber for a single, and then he flied out. But I like the fact that he went opposite field with that fly out. Again, his timing looked better. So Shohei Ohtani, we can all rest, relax. Our tension about whether or not he is going to be worth $700 million is by the wayside. I think he's going to be just fine. But still, I feel like, yeah, the home run was a bomb. It was great. But he hasn't put together, as they say in basketball, stack stops, play some defense. He hasn't put together great back-to-back at-bats. Striking out. I mean, when he strikes out, it's pretty ugly. It's not like you give him the high five and say, hey, those were good cuts, right? I mean, of course they are because he's a professional. But he just sometimes looks just disjointed, like trying a little too hard. And I guess that's understandable. We get that. It makes sense. When you've got that contract kind of hanging over your head, you can't help but feel like you want to hit every ball 430 feet with an exit velocity of 105 miles an hour. They talked about Mookie Betts having that feeling for the first 3 years of his contract with the Dodgers. Just, a guy that has won an MVP, has been top 5 in MVP voting as a Dodger, has lived up to the expectation far and away, but he has felt like not quite. I'm not doing enough. So I get that. And that's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of these massive long-term, high-paying deals, because it's really, really hard to live up to that expectation as a player. The pressure that it puts on you is overwhelming. So, fortunately for Ohtani, the way that this deal is structured with the $698 million deferred, it makes it a little bit easier for the team. It's easier for everyone to kind of swallow that pill, but it's got to be a ton of pressure for anybody who makes that kind of money. I mean, look, being a major leaguer and having the pressure to get base hits and not make errors, that's also a huge amount of pressure. If you're a pitcher, throw strikes, get batters out, all of that. They understand that, and that comes with the territory. That's why they get paid the big money, because it's not forever. You don't get to do this just because you want to. You have to perform, and that pressure is always hanging over their head. But when it's attached to a massive contract like that, you're like, well, was it worth it? Like, you start counting championships, right? The Albert Pujols deal always pops into my head. At first, when the Angels signed that deal, I was like, that's a pretty good deal. And then you start looking into it and you're like, yeah. And then, of course, they did that deal. Like, the fact that he made it, 8 years out of 10, I think it was phenomenal, remarkable. But they didn't win anything with him. All they did was put butts in the seats. So I'm hoping that Shohei Ohtani is more than butts in the seats. Obviously, that will continue, but he's got to help this team win championships. And I don't even know if one's enough. If Shohei Ohtani's around for 7, 8, 9 years, and they only put one championship on the board, a la the Atlanta Braves back in the 90s, I don't know. It's not enough, I don't think. So another nice win tonight. The other thing about this team that I'm really starting to enjoy, I don't feel like a 1-run lead is a nail-biting situation. Like, 1 run is like, all right, we're good. We're cool. I'm not stressed. All right, we'll take our first break. We'll come back, get to some comments. We see Jose is there. Craig is there. Mr. Seabad. How much do I think that Ohtani home run ball is worth? You're saying $2,000? I don't know. Let me think about that, and I'll come back and I'll tell you after the break. I am Pete Fox. Thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Dodgers podcast, or postcast rather, on the Locked On Dodger Podcast Network and the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. All right, let's talk about our friends at Prize Picks. I had a Prize Picks working tonight with tennis again, because I'm getting cocky picking tennis, and I lost. Didn't work out well. I had 2 selections. I think I got 1 right, lost the other one. But now that spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway, don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. They have so many different options. I mean, if you can't find something that seems interesting to you, you're not looking hard enough, because there are so many different ways to do Prize Picks with baseball and the selections. You pick 2 to 6 players, and you just find their stat line, whether it's runs, RBIs, strikeouts for pitchers, and you go more or less. And that's it. Get in on the playoff action. You can win up to 100 times your money as long as you get 2 right. I'm sorry, it's more like 6 right, I think, to win 100 times your money. So, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult. And then, they have the Green Goblins and the Demons, which give you higher odds. But, the Final Four is right around the corner. They'll be back to work with that on Saturday, and then the final game is on Sunday. So there's lots going on there. And of course, the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. So there are it's a busy time of year in the sports world. So there are plenty of things to get in on the action with Prize Picks with. They have quick withdrawals and easy deposits, and they will match your deposit up to $100. I do have to say, my initial deposit was super painless and very quick and easy. The same goes for the withdrawals, which is also a blessing. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for your first deposit match up to $100. All right, Dodgers with another 5-4 win over the Giants. They won 5-4 yesterday, 5-4 again today. They were out 4-1, cruising along. Things were going fairly easy for them. The Giants with a little bit of a rally, but the Dodgers put that sweep on them, and we love to see that, right? That's right. Sweep, baby. All right, the question was asked, how much do I think the Dodger Shohei Ohtani home run ball is worth? Well, I believe they saw the girl and her boyfriend or husband, celebrating in the stands, which was pretty cool. They were having a good old time with that. He lifted her up and she had the ball in her hand. Then the security came and escorted them away. More than likely, Shohei Ohtani signed a bunch of stuff and gave that to her, and then the ball will go to Ohtani as his first home run ball for the Dodgers. So if you have a Shohei bat, Shohei jersey, they probably gave him some tickets. There's a nice little prize package there. So if you want to say, because honestly, the first home run ball for Shohei Ohtani, it's cool, but I don't know that it's worth all that much. It's not going to like go up for auction and be like 150,000, or I don't know that anybody would pay, 2,000 or 3,000 for it. Maybe. There are a lot of crazy Japanese baseball fans, so you never know. But I feel like the stuff that they're going to give her, it's probably worth around $2,000 to $3,000. The tickets, they'll probably treat her very well. So it's going to be a cool experience for them without a doubt. So that's my answer to that question. As far as the Dodgers pitching tonight, Glasnow looked good in the first 7 pitches, 1, 2, 3. And I love a 1, 2, 3 first inning because it just calms things down, off to a good start, all of that. My mom is a huge baseball fan and still watches to this day, coming up on 97 years old. She has this superstition. I don't remember what it was, but when I was a kid, she would always watch intently on the first pitch of the game, because if it was a strike I can't remember how it went exactly, but let's just say if it was a strike, she knew the Dodgers or the Angels were going to win. If it was a ball, oh no, we're going to lose. I don't know that I get that much into the superstition aspect of things, but I do love a 1, 2, 3 first inning because it doesn't give the opponent any sort of rhythm or momentum. And you just kind of get into the game on a comfort level that feels good, right? You're not stressed, all of that. Even though Glasnow was struggling with the curveball, I don't, again, like Craig mentioned yesterday, mentioned it again tonight. Glasnow was good, but struggled at times, not great today. Did enough to get the win. So I feel like, that's what you're looking for. That's what you need. 6 innings pitch. Gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 7 Ks. So Jack in the Box burgers. What are they called? Not the Big Mac. That's McDonald's. The Jumbo Jacks for everybody. If you get a free soda, or if you buy a soda, you get a Jumbo Jack. So that's always nice for the 7 Ks. He had 2 walks, but the thing was his curveball just wasn't hitting. He was, bouncing them like, 3 feet in front of Will Smith, but the fastball was on point. So I guess you can't complain too much. I mean, his slider was pretty decent as well, but the curveball just wasn't there. And that is his out pitch. That's his hammer. So when that's not working, he's struggled a little bit. And I'm not too terribly worried about it, but the fact was that they almost had to go get him. Because he gave up that home run on a curveball, which just didn't curve the way that you would want it to. Oral was basically saying, that's a curveball to get a strike to start out a count, not a hammer when you're trying to strike a guy out. So I appreciated that insight because apparently Glasnow has different curveballs and that one just didn't work. But he did get some guys out with the curveball, so it wasn't terrible all night long. All in all, he got it done. And again, as we've said, when this team is putting up runs the way they are, and like 9 games in a row now with 5 or more, which is another record dating back to the late 1800s. The all-time record for 5 or more to start a season is 13. So they got 4 to go there. Off tomorrow, on to Chicago for 3 day games on the north side at Wrigley. Oh, that would be so cool. A Dodgers Cubs matinee at Wrigley. Speaking of, was he ever a Cub? No, I don't think he was. He was a Dodger for a while. I know he was a Cincinnati Red for a while. And now I think he has somehow transformed himself into Nick Ahmed of the San Francisco Giants. What is up with that? Is that not Eric Davis to a T? I know some of you youngsters don't know who the heck Eric Davis is, but he played for the Dodgers for a while. He probably made his hay in Cincinnati. But Eric Davis was quite the big, tall, skinny right-handed hitter. And Ahmed, if you haven't seen Ahmed's stance and compared to Eric Davis, go look up Eric Davis and then go look at Ahmed. I don't know if it's just coincidence or Ahmed is patterning himself. What the hell's that word? Patterning himself. Why does it sounds like I'm drunk? Patterning. Am I patterning? He is emulating Eric Davis's swing to a T, and it was just cool to see. I was like, whoa, I haven't seen that in a long time. So a good win all in all for the Dodgers. We'll come back after this break and break down how they put those runs on the board. I am Pete Fox. Thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. The Locked On Dodgers postcast comes on right after the game, and we break it down. Shohei Ohtani, his first round tripper, a 430-foot bomb into the bleachers, into the pavilion. And the Dodgers, it was really the difference in the game for the Dodgers. So that's a good sign as well. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. And don't forget, tomorrow, Jeff and Vince do their thing with the Locked On Dodgers podcast, as they do every Monday through Friday. We'll take the break and we'll come back and get into how the Dodgers scored those runs in this 5-4 win to wrap up the sweep of the Giants. All right, tonight's show also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from the seat, which is huge for me. I love to know exactly where I'm sitting, because sometimes just one section over is way better, or one section over that way, way worse. So, but sometimes it doesn't really matter, and you save a ton of money by going one section that way or one section that way. So views from the seat, very, very important. And their best price guarantee, Game Time tickets, takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sporting events, music, comedy, theater, all sorts of different things on there. And as I mentioned, views from the seat at the venue. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. For example, when the Dodgers return home after this 6-game road trip, I saw tickets from $41 for Dodgers Padres in a little over a week. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets with the lowest prices guaranteed. All right, Dodgers hold on for a 5-4 win. The Shohei Ohtani 430-foot bomb made it 5-3, and then Soler homered in the 8th. That was a bomb as well, 452 feet there to make it a one-run game. But Dinelson Lamet came in and locked it down, and I was a little shaky there for that first at-bat. The first pitch was a 85-mile-an-hour slider up, and then he threw an 84-mile-an-hour slider up and in, and then he decided to bring some heat, and that was 95. It was up and in as well, some chin music there. Then a 93-mile-an-hour slider, worked his way back into the count and got the K. He backed that up with another K and a 1-2-3 inning for his first career save. How about that? Dinelson Lamet, his first career save, which Dodgers really needed. And I think he's going to be very good for them. How they got the runs in the second inning: Rojas grounded into a fielder's choice. Muncy scored. Taylor was out at second, and Kike went to third. That made it 1-0. Then in the third, a Smith double to left field. That scored Ohtani after he got on with that little nubber. So as much as Ohtani's batting average is not there, he's definitely getting on base. He's doing what he needs to do. He's battling, even though his swing's not quite there. I would like to just see more consistency, even on the outs. These little nubbers and so forth, they just don't look like him. He's a little disjointed and so forth. So it's not what we hope to see on the long-term basis from him, but I'm confident he will get there. Teoscar Hernandez continues to be red hot. He knocked in Will Smith there to make it 3-1. Then in the fourth, Miguel Rojas got the hands inside and ripped it down the left field line. For those of you who are parents of young hitters, go watch that Miguel Rojas at bat. That's how you hit a baseball. You have to get those hands inside and pull it through the zone. They say Miguel Rojas is not a home run hitter and not a great hitter in general. Well, he was textbook on that. I mean, that was fantastic. So it was nice to see. And, it feels good. The Dodger announcers, Joe and Oral were all over that. Craig is saying here's the answer to the question as to what was given to the lady for the ball. A ball, 2 caps, and a bat was the reward. That's all. A ball. So an autographed ball, 2 caps, a bat. They had to give him some tickets, don't you think, Craig? I mean, that's just not enough. Cheapskates. Dodgers are not notoriously cheap. That's weak. I mean, the ball, I guess you could sell the autographed ball for probably $400 or $500. The caps, those are probably autographed, and the bats, it's all autographed. So I don't know. I expected more from the Dodgers. I expected more. Shohei Ohtani's worth $700 million. Should have given her, a few grand out of his pocket. Here you go. Here's some change. Dodgers with a 5-4 win. That Miguel Rojas home run was pretty sweet. Oh, another thing I saw, which was very nice to see as far as the Dodgers opponent ERA. This goes to the 5-run average in their first 9 games. The Dodgers, I don't know what it is now, but when they threw this stat out in about the 5th inning, the Dodgers opponent ERA is over 6. Holy cow. They are just pounding people. It's just an onslaught. Even on a night when Mookie Betts wasn't great, 1 for 3, keeps his average almost at 500. Oh, he's below 500. We're in trouble. Mookie Betts was 1 for 3 with a walk. Ohtani 2 for 4, his average up to 270. Freddie Freeman 0 for, he's at 375. Will Smith 1 for 4. Teoscar Hernandez 2 for 4, his average is only 257. I was surprised by that, but his slugging is 657 because he's hitting all those home runs. Max Muncy continues to get base hits. That base hit he got late in the game was absolutely ripped. I loved it when they showed the angle from the outfield. It went right between the first and second baseman, and it was just on a rope. So he's hitting the ball really, really well. And, he had the game-winning home run a few nights ago, which is nice to see. But he's getting on base with walks. I think he walked, 1 time tonight. So if he can keep that average anywhere in the ballpark of 300, that's winning. That is just cake for Max Muncy because he's not a guy that does that really. He's there to hit home runs. And if he bats 205, they're completely fine with that. So I love the fact that he's getting on base, 368. His slugging is 455. Chris Taylor is still struggling mightily. He is batting 91, played left field tonight. Kike was in center. He's batting 200. He was 1 for 4 with that hit tonight and then scored the run. No, he didn't actually. But James Outman on the bench. He had a hit a couple nights ago, got his average up over 100. So I think he's at like 120. But I shouldn't be so critical of him or anyone else at this point of the season that is struggling because there are plenty of guys that are playing in games that have no hits, 0. They're trying to find their first base hit of the season. So it's definitely that time of year where people are still trying to find their stroke. And it's not all that surprising. I'm sure James Outman will do it. I'm sure Chris Taylor will. Although they were pointing out, it's funny to me. Chris Taylor's always been such a versatile dude and useful to the team and has been productive in the playoffs. So regardless of what he's done after those few years when the Dodgers won that World Series in 2020. I feel like Chris Taylor just can do no wrong, but he's been struggling for the last couple of years. and he's still trying to find his way. They thought he had a nice spring and he was going to get back on track, and that just hasn't quite happened yet. So hopefully he will, because he can definitely hit the ball out of the yard when it's going well for him, and that's what we need. And the more of that, the better, right? I like guys that get on base, but I also like guys that hit the home run. So, I mean, when Chris Taylor, who's been a Dodger for 9 years, that blew my mind. I'm like, 9 years? I thought it was like 4. But he's been there for quite a while. And when he came to the Dodgers, he had this big looping swing and he struck out a lot. So they did some work on it and they got him a little bit tightened up, and he started making better contact. He was putting balls in play, hitting home runs still, but wasn't striking out quite as much. So the fact is that he's back to that sort of not being able to find the zone and striking out a lot. So I don't know. I don't know what he needs to do other than just keep working, right? That's kind of the way it goes for these guys, especially at this time of the year. So all in all, very good. One more thing to point out, because I would love to hear your thoughts on this. What is up with Yamamoto's purse? Did you see that? Yeah, they showed Yamamoto driving into the game and, in his black SUV, or I'm sorry, being driven into the game. He was not driving. He got out of the passenger side holding what they called a $7,000 Chanel handbag. I'm like, that's a purse. You can't even do the Seinfeld joke. It's a European men's carry-all. No, it was a purse. It was like tuft, and it had the chain handle. It was like a handbag, which is a purse. Come on. At least get a $7,000 backpack or something. I don't know what that was all about. I'm just like, that is a purse. It had the flap over the top that, the way purses close with like the magnet. It was 100% a purse. Come on, dude. You're better than that. I don't know. $7,000. I don't care how much money you make. $7,000 for a purse. Really? That's ridiculous. Joe Kelly in the 7th looked good. Thank you. Oh, that was nice to see. 1, 2, 3. Daniel Hudson gave up 1 run on 1 hit. That was the bomb in the 8th there. But he came out unscathed other than that. And then, as I said, Dinelson Lamet with the save. Dodgers win it 5-4, sweep the Giants, and have the day off tomorrow. They'll play at 11 on Friday, and then it's 3-day games. That's pretty cool. So we'll be coming on right after that as well. So I will talk to you. So today's Wednesday. So Friday, after that matinee at Wrigley on the north side. And tomorrow, Clippers and Nuggets. We'll see what that's all about. Clippers have been struggling, lost to the Kings last night. So join me on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel after the Clippers game tomorrow. And then you can listen to that on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed, which is just like the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, Jeff and Vince will get into their daily podcast and break this game down for you. Dodgers with a 5-4 win. Shohei Ohtani with his first bomb, a 430-foot home run at 105 miles an hour. The timing looked good. Ball was up in the zone, and he absolutely mashed it. And that just felt good to see. It was one of those ones where you just you lost your breath when you saw him hit it. It was like, oh, that's a bomb, right? I mean, the crack of the bat could be heard through the entire stadium. It was unbelievable. I mean, I know I heard it through the television, and the fans just went ape, you know what. So all of that good. Solid win. Again, just feeling so confident with this team right now because of the offense that a 1-run lead is comfortable. And a lot of that obviously has to do with the defense. The defense has been really good. Obviously, when we're talking defense, we're speaking about pitching, and their pitching staff's been fantastic. And Walker Buehler is right around the corner from returning. Brusdar Graterol, I'm going to get him back sooner before later. I think he's on the 60-day, though. This pitching staff is just so stacked and loaded. I mean, it is really, really exciting to see what the potential is. Emmett Sheehan coming back. Dustin May coming back. Tony Gonsolin. It is an embarrassment of riches offensively and defensively. At some point, you start thinking, what's the potential? I know I'm supposed to be here breaking down this game, but what's the potential? 125? I mean, is that crazy in the wins department? I don't know. I don't love that. I'd rather have them win like 98, 99, 100. I don't want that week off. I really don't, but they're going to get it because they're going to win the division. So, and the team that wins that kind of game, go see the Seattle Mariners from 20 years ago, whatever. 120 wins does not guarantee you a World Series, but with this team, you never know. It could. It really could. They could win 130 and still go win the World Series. Let's hope. So, and yes, sports, baby. Ohtani has been disappointing, but that home run was not disappointing. It was absolutely satisfying and awe-inspiring. It was a perfect home run. I mean, just the timing and the contact was squared up. That is the definition of squared up. So good for him. His first home run as a Dodger. It would be the difference ultimately as the Dodgers beat the Giants 5-4. They take 6 of 7 on this homestand. They're off tomorrow on to Wrigley to face the Cubs on Friday. Early start, 11 o'clock for that matinee there on the north side. I will talk to you when that is over. Thank you for joining me here. Again, we're on after every game, the Locked On Dodgers postcast. You can watch us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Have a good night. We will talk to you in a couple of days.